Hello? Hello there, Aquapunk. Sorry about Nightbot. I thought I'd made them a bit less sensitive, and yes, I am very happy with my new tablet. I've not properly drawn too much with it. However, I have tested it out, and it is fairly responsive. I don't have anything to compare it against, of course, but it is good as is. Perhaps I should, restart Nightbot at some point. Maybe the settings haven't gone into effect. I don't know if I removed and then re-added it to chat. Alright, so first things first, I was planning on testing out how well I can sketch things. Just try and get some simple poses. I recently tweeted about how I had gotten Kuroboshi Sensei's new art book, Blanc. And I was thinking of just opening it and seeing if I can't draw a pose out of it. Let's see. It's kind of hard to hold open, though. And I don't want to fold it open either. Let's see, if I stand it up like this, then it falls under its own weight. Unfortunate. Well, perhaps I can just hold it open with one hand and then draw with the other. Yes, as I mentioned in my previous tweet, my face will not be moving for this stream because I needed the USB port for my tablet. Let's see. Is it responding? I need to turn something on. I just plugged it in last time and it worked fine. Let's see. Not quite. Perhaps if I try unplugging and replugging it? I'm very new of this. The book? I could. Oh yes, I don't actually have to look at the screen anymore today. Yes, that works somewhat. Alright. Now then. Time for the issue of the tablet. Okay, it works now. So one thing I have noticed is that for some reason, the undo button is the only one that doesn't function as... well, it doesn't do anything. If I were to draw something and then hit the undo button, nothing happens. So I need to manually use keyboard shortcuts, which is unfortunate, but not impossible to do. Let's see. Alright, so. Oof. I'm going to need to learn how to draw. Okay, maybe I would like to be able to just undo with a single press of the finger. I looked into it. I was more just excited that it actually worked. Now then. Yes, I'm not very good at drawing circles as it appears. Oh yeah. It doesn't. It worked perfectly fine the first day. Let's see, I did install the drivers and everything was working very well. Let's see, pen settings. There's a whole bunch of information right now that I'm looking at that I don't think you can see. Yes, no, you can't. But this is all settings to do with Windows Ink, which I'm not using. I'm using Clip Studio Paint. Let's see. I didn't change anything. I did restart my computer, though. I wonder, do I have to do something with the drivers? Let me look at my recent downloads. Let's see, where did the driver install to? I wonder. I would have very much preferred to be able to start drawing immediately. Perhaps I should have done some prep work, but I decided for some reason, there we go, Huey tablet. I decided for some reason that I should take the time before my stream to bake some bread, which I will have to take a small break in about 20 minutes to take out of the oven. Hopefully it turns out well. Yes, possibly. I will do that. Yes, if it does turn out well, expect to see pictures on my Twitter later on today. Now then, let's reopen Clip Studio. Human tablet, digital pen. Pressure sensitivity, okay. Well, it has opened up a window that has settings on it, so hopefully this is what I'm looking for. I'm just going to open up CSP again, just so that you have something to look at besides the background as I talk. Now then, press keys. That's why undo doesn't do anything. For some reason it's bound to Control-Alt-Z instead. Why is that? Let's remove the Alt then. It's a very odd thing to be bound to. Alright. I wonder, is that, since most artistic applications are typically made for Mac computers or tablets, is that the settings for Mac? I'm not entirely sure. That would be my guess, though. Alright. I'm looking at a pressure test right now. Yes, pressure is working fine on this end. So perhaps it is an issue with Clip Studio? It seems like it. Alright. Well then. I'll bring up another canvas and see if pressure sensitivity is working. It is. And undo works now. Alright. So, as I said earlier, I'm going to attempt to draw a circle at first, at the very least. Now then, I've just noticed that the undo button is that I attempted to bind to the pen is not what I wanted. Let's see. And then Control-Z. Alright, so now... Not quite. There are still some settings left to fix. Enable Oh, do I have to press apply? That would probably be the reason. No? That's not it either. Well, I'll just suffer with pressing the button on the drawing pad instead. So, now I can finally begin. First things first. I'm going to attempt to just sketch some figures really simply. It's also very nice. I can move my microphone around to follow my face. So if I'm looking different places, I can actually talk into my mic fairly well, and I don't have to worry about my webcam. Alright, so, circle. That's pretty good. Not that bad. It's obviously an oval instead. I'm not used to not having precise pixel control. Oh my. It's very difficult to get used to. Yes, that does not quite look like a cross-section of a face at all. Or not a cross-section. Cross-section implies it's been cut open. I simply mean the cross on the face that denotes where someone is looking. How slowly do I have to draw? Perhaps I should put the tablet on my lap and the book on the table. Fairly annoyingly, the plug on the tablet is on the left side. However, my computer is on the right, so the cord has to move across. Oh, there's not enough light here. Perhaps if I angle this lamp down slightly more? Yes, I probably should have tested this out more. Okay. Okay, that's also good. It tracks the location of the pen, so I can rest my hand on it as well. Yes, and I can even make fairly small motions like that. Alright. So then... Alright, so if I just don't look down at the tablet... I've been looking at the tablet. Okay, but if I just pay attention to the screen... Oh, that's actually far easier. Let's see. It's where the line of the hair is. Comes up sort of like this. And right now I'm just sketching. I will get started on the art later. I just want to test things out. This is, yes, this is far easier. I feel like I'm getting a lot more accurate, while also simultaneously less accurate somehow. Alright, so the chest is angled in this direction. Let's see, where does the shoulder come down on the far side? The shoulder actually is around here. And the body is at a slight diagonal angle. It's very difficult to... That's the shoulder on that side, and the arm comes down like this. Yes. I feel like it already looks a lot better than when I was drawing with mouse and keyboard. Well, that could be entirely user bias. But I feel like, aside from the head, which is a weird mess of geometry, this is actually fairly comfortable to use. I just wish there was a simpler way to switch to erasers. I also wish these buttons lit up so I could see what is on them. Although I suppose, given time, that'll become muscle memory. I also keep trying to use this like a trackpad. I don't know if anyone's noticed that at this point, but I am trying to drag where the mouse is downwards. Let's see. More like this. This is quite a lot of fun, honestly. I never, before I started VTubing, I never did any art. This is something that's entirely new, something that I've picked up in, what is it, the past month or so, really, at this point. I'm enjoying it quite a lot more than I thought I would. I initially just started it because it seemed like a VTuber activity, so something that I should probably do because it was something that a lot of people did. But I'm getting a lot more out of it than I thought I would. It's also far easier using this tablet for me to make single smaller strokes. Oh, that wasn't all that. That line should be a bit more straight. Every time... What is happening? Perhaps I shouldn't press the undo key so quickly, because right now, for some reason, my Windows key is rapid highlighting, and I have no idea why. Perhaps there was an issue with the drivers. Ooh. Alright. That's a bit unusual. And then one press at a time in that case. It's very difficult for me to remember consistently where I am, or where on the tablet is what I'm actually looking for. Okay, the perspective on the drawing that I am, I guess, using as reference, I'm not really... What would this be called? The drawing that I'm using as reference, I believe, is probably the simplest way to say it. But the perspective is a bit off, or a bit different. Yes, I'm not entirely sure. The perspective is a bit different. This leg here is a lot further back in the drawing, so the knee is actually like around here in the drawing. Reference image, yes, that would be the correct one. Oh, which causes there to be a gap here. Yeah. I feel as if I can get sketches out fairly well at this point. I'll probably eschew doing anything too complicated for heads, given that it looks like an absolute mess if I try and do anything too complicated. But as it is, I'm fairly satisfied with how things are going. This is not bad at all. Alright. So, at this point, I feel like I'm just about ready to start with drawing those pictures for GSOC and Aquapunk, if you would like that. Let's see. I will create a coin flip. I'll just go on a random website or a random number generator so that I can flip a coin. I guess the first of you to say either 1 or 2 or heads or tails. Heads will be 1 and tails will be 2. So feel free to claim one of those, and I will randomly generate a number, and whoever wins gets their drawing done first. Alright, GSOC chose tails. By the way, GSOC, I notice you have, what is it, Korean, I believe it is, in your Twitter bio. I don't, my Korean pronunciation is nearly non-existent, so I was wondering if I was pronouncing correctly, because I'm assuming that it is supposed to be pronounced with Korean inflection. Alright, and that is a tails. So, who chose tails? GSOC, you are first then. Alright, so. Let me just go on Twitter and I'll... Do you have a reference image that I could use? Yes, you posted your full model yesterday. Alright, so I'll just download that. Alright. So, now I should create a canvas for this. Let's see. I've just been using, what is it, 3000 by 2000 because golden ratio. It's a simply sized paper to work with. I don't know if that's, I mean, it's obviously not standard because the standard is, what is it, 1080, because that's how resolutions work, but I don't particularly like doing multiplications with numbers like that, and I don't have the correct tables for artistic reference, so let's just get the reference on screen. See, show in folder. Come on. Okay. Normally I can just drag a file onto the canvas and it'll move over, but for some reason that's not happening right now. I wonder if there's something to do with the driver, maybe. Has the tablet caused an issue here as well? Is this something I need to be aware of? Yes, when I click, it's not even dragging. Let's see, can I do it with the pen? No. Interesting. I can't even drag the files around in the folder. Let's see. Perhaps if I open it with CSP, that might work. No, that doesn't work. That's not an option even. Well, previously I've just been able to pull files, just click on the file and to drag it into an Open Clip Studio image, and it'll move it over. But it's just not working now for some reason. That's fine. There we go. Alright. So then. Reference image obtained. I'd like to increase the size, please. Why is scale and rotate grayed out? Come now, it's on the right layer. Is it? Yes, there's no object to transform if I do that. Do I have to merge it with the bottom layer? Yes, I did. Alright, for some reason, despite being on its own layer, it didn't want to cooperate. Alright, so just want to increase the size a little bit. Yes, I had to, as I so often do, work around whatever limitation I am dealing with, instead of actually solving the problem. Alright, so, GSOC, is there any specific pose you were looking for, or had in mind? I should probably also be talking as this. Yes. I can just... Let's see. I could probably find one. I can go through the book and apply one, or I can do one of the things that I did on my earlier art streams where I randomly generated a pose. There, you have three options. I can randomly generate a pose, I can choose one out of the art book that I just got, or you can come up with one. I can... Wait, in fact, I will put everyone on break for a little bit because I need to go take my bread out of the oven. So once I get back, we'll see what we're working with. Alright, I have returned. So, slightly unfortunate news about the bread. Nothing major, honestly. I forgot to score the top of it. Which means that instead of puffing up, it got a bit compressed on the interior because the crust of it stuck to the exterior of the pan. It still tastes fine. Oh right, I was continuing on what I was talking about. But that also means that it blew out the side. Yes, it lets the gases escape. Because when yeast cooks, it releases gases. That's why bread is so aerated. This is also my first time cooking bread. I mainly just know the theory behind it. But it tastes fine, and one of the sides is just blown out. I'll probably post a picture of it later to my Twitter, in comparison with the second loaf that's currently in the oven. Taste is fine, though. I have a slice of it here with me that I may continue to eat. It's very, very thick. I may have not let the yeast proof enough. That may also be an issue that I had with the thickness. So, G-Sock, have you had time to come up with one of the methods that you would like me to use? If you have a specific pose or a reference image, you can DM it to me on Twitter and I will bring that up as well. Okay, RNG then. So I use... this is something that I picked up from a YouTube channel called Drawfee. Yes. It's at a website called lifedrawing.me/randompose. And it just gives you a series of descriptions, I guess? Yes, Drawfee is one of my favorite artistic creators on the platform. I've just noticed that I received 2 new followers 4 minutes ago. The Last Seahorse and Code Nitrogen. I was having a bit of difficulty figuring out where the break happened. That's pushed me over 20 followers, which is very nice. So, let's see, the randomly generated pose we have. I will paste it on screen momentarily. Stepping, leaning back, one arm supported, hands extended, feeling small. Not entirely sure what feeling small would be describing, but I will do my best. So, let's think on this. Alright, so I'll make a sketch layer. Almost dropped my pen. Yes, I'm trying to remember how far back the Drawfee episode is where they randomly generated poses. Wasn't too long ago, I don't think. Probably a couple months at most. But I particularly enjoyed that one, and I thought I might incorporate something like it into what I do, because I don't necessarily have too many inspirations when it comes to art. So, just having something randomly assigned might be nice. So, let's see. I'll just have a head. Let's see, stepping, leaning back. That's a very odd pose to have. One arm supported. So I suppose this is sort of a leaning back against, let's see, so let's have a... Let's see, so if we have a wall or something like it positioned here, you can have one arm being supported, so leaning against the wall, like this. And that can also be the leaning back, so the torso is sort of like this. One leg is on the ground and one leg is kicking out. And then one leg, what is it, stepping? So, you have that stepping. Hands extended, so... What to do with the other arm then? So hand can be extended while also leaning, so... I'm just going to erase that. You don't need to see monster hand. So the hand will extend somehow from this position. And we have neck into shoulder, arm, torso, one leg standing, one leg taking a step. I'll fix proportions later because this is crazy right now. And one arm extended. Or no, it's just the hand that's extended. And feeling small. I may omit that detail because it's not extremely descriptive. Yeah, that's the general idea that I'm sort of having. So then, I can just use my mouse for this actually. Just drop the opacity down, and I will use that as a general guideline for what I am doing, but definitely nothing to stick to too closely. So then, the perspective will be slightly off to the side. Yes. Alright. So then, let's get a wall. Oh, I need to create a new layer for better sketch. There we go. Okay, that's a decent angle for the wall to be at. Perhaps a bit more severe, actually. At what point do we want the viewer to see this at? So, if the wall goes off into the distance, I'm trying to envision perspective right now. So... do we want a sort of side shot? I think so. So if this is the back... Oh no. I thought I had just gotten a new follower, but it was just the number ticking over into the double digits, which caused the orientation of everything to shift slightly. That was fairly amusing, actually. Okay, so we have an arm resting on a wall here. And say this is a hand. And the wall... Ah, I see how I want to do this now. So the wall is actually like this. And we see it from this sort of perspective. And the arm is here. Although perhaps not as top-down of a view. Let's see, so if we just have a little bit of wall then? How do I... Let's see. Perspective is probably one of the more challenging things that I'm going to have to learn to work with. Okay, so let's say this is the arm, and we want the side view, so let's put waist around here, up, just get a couple of rectangles in to represent things. Head connecting to shoulder here. Let's see, perhaps the profile can be slightly shifted so that the expression isn't straight on sideways. Drawing from imagination is far more difficult than drawing from reference. I knew that, but let's see. So, we have the other leg here. Let's see. I should probably stop attempting to throw myself in at the absolute deepest end of whatever I'm doing. Alright, that would probably be for the best if we have an actual reference to go off of, just so that I can understand. Oh, you know what? I just realized I bought a posing doll, one of those wooden posing dolls, for exactly this reason. I wonder if I can get a pose that... I bought a pretty bad posing doll, so the joints barely move. Yeah. Like if I want to get a good resting elbow angle, it doesn't go any further than 90 degrees. So I can't actually get any acute angles with any of the limbs, which is unfortunate. But yes, if you want to DM me the reference image that you want me to use, that would be very helpful. Didn't want that to happen. I'll just get rid of what I have here. Okay, so time to start over once more. All right. Let's see, I wonder if that was audible. I do have the sound sort of, what is it? The sound on my microphone is a bit... What did I put on it? There's something that I did to it so that you wouldn't hear background noises. I forget what it's called, though. I feel like it might muffle my voice a bit much. I've been considering tweaking with it a bit. I feel like it makes my voice sound a bit softer and less deep. I don't know. Okay, so I will save this image. And bring it over. Do you have any preferences for the drink? Would you like to keep it as, what is it? It looks like strawberry milk. Also, I can get rid of the description that I'm no longer using. Okay, I need to import the picture now. Can't just simply drag things anymore. Alright, so this is the pose to aim for. Let's try and fill this screen as best I can so that I have the full space of the tablet to work with. All right. For some reason, clicking and dragging doesn't work at all. I'm assuming that the tablet is having some sort of effect on this. I can't reposition layers. Interesting. Yeah, so I can't click and drag anything then. It's not simply a issue with being unable to click and drag folders. Alright, so if I'm working with this, we have... Oh! What button did I press? I moved it to eraser for some reason. Okay, so I need to keep my hands off of the buttons on the mouse. So head, neck, let's see, shoulders are fairly exposed. Well, by fairly I mean entirely. Let's see, I feel like I should be... Whenever I sketch from reference, it feels like I'm not doing enough to make it my own artwork. It almost feels like I'm doing a bit too much copying. Because I'm just taking the pose wholesale. It's just so difficult to think of how arms and everything works on its own. This was actually something that I did when I was younger, was that I would draw directly from reference. I never did it too much. I think I remember doing it twice. I remember it turned out fairly well, but it's always something that it's like, it was never something that I drew. It was always something that somebody else drew and I simply did the same thing. Although I suppose I'm adding different features to it. Just feels a bit off. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. And I suppose these aren't art pieces that I am selling or anything like that. Because that would enter an entirely different moral ground at that point. Alright, so the chest goes back like that. Let's see, I think I just have this shoulder extending too far. That's the main issue. Alright. So then, let me just get some lines in to denote where the body happens. Okay, so your skirt actually starts very high up. So it's around the ribs, actually, around here. So I can just start there, and since it's fairly rigid, I don't have to worry, let's see, too much about the body shape here around the waist. So let's see, and the legs, the knee is resting slightly above the leg. So like this here. So So the skirt itself is sort of going to be at this sort of angle. So then we won't necessarily see that far up on the waist. Okay. But so that I have consistency, I should also... Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So let's just go back a little ways to around here. So I want things to be anatomically consistent. So I should draw where the body is. Oh, and I had just said that it was getting easier for me to not draw in single lines, and I contradicted everything I had said with that one leg shape there. I feel like I could probably also use one of those gloves, the artist's gloves, because my hand is sticking to my tablet a fair amount. So let's see, the other knee here. Let's get the arm in play then. So the other knee has the hand covering it. Okay. Oh. I did something with the settings that I didn't want to. I just wanted the eraser. There we are. Okay. Ah, I did it again. I keep worrying that I'm going too far off to the left because, what is it? In my mind, the surface area of the drawing space on the tablet is the surface area of the canvas, not the entire screen. So I keep thinking I'm going slightly too far whenever I move my mouse over to the option area, or selector rather. I'm not actually using a mouse, I'm using a stylus at this point. Okay, this is just about the rough outline that I want then. Let's see, torso. Continues down, hidden behind the leg. I think this is just about done. So you have the arm here, hand resting, make that a bit more defined. The arm should probably be at a more... that's also a very long arm, now that I'm looking at it. Was it actually just long on the reference as well? Might be. Perhaps it's a trick of perspective. But I feel like this is about as good as I can do for a reference drawing. At this point, at least. Alright, well. Now I can drop down the opacity on that and start creating specific layers. Alright, so time to actually work with a zoomed in perspective. Alright, and I need to move this over Or no, not that. I don't want that for reference. I want this for reference. Okay. So then, back to the head layer. And I think I want a bit of a smaller brush. Okay, so. But I do also want to just take a look at this and see the perspective of the face. So it's like that. There's nose, there's mouth, eyes. All right. So just that general sort of face shape to remember. All right, so sort of like this. Perhaps it should be a bit lower then. I think everything might be a bit high involving the head right now. Maybe narrow the chin a little bit. Oh! Keep pressing this button that pops open the eraser. Back to pen. Sharpen the chin a little bit. Alright. Oh, I just got a notification on something, I'm not quite sure what. Alright, so as for hair, it moves towards the center, extends off the head a fair bit. So, let's actually do this for reference. There we go. Oh, I should probably do that on a separate layer so it can be erased later. I meant to press the button that pops open the eraser. Why isn't it happening this time? This drawing program is confusing me to no end. I suppose I can only open the eraser on accident. Let's go back over to sketch then. Now I can create the line of perspective. Let's see, and the line of the eyes is around here then. Oh, I just noticed that I was talking incredibly quietly there, as I was musing to myself. So then, the center of the hair is around here. So we just want them coming in the center like this. One larger one off to the side, like that. A lot of images are rounded. Let's see. All right. Yes, I may not. Yeah. Feel free to head out, Aquapunk. I may not get to your art today, so that might have to happen at a later date. Okay. The general sort of inward swoop of the hair. Perhaps coming over the top of the face at that side. And the hair buns be located somewhere around here. Okay. Let's see. GSOC, quick question. I'm assuming those are pointed ears, yes? That's what it looks like at the very least. Alright. So then that sort of protrudes here. Despite pen pressure being the main thing that I was incredibly excited for, I keep forgetting that it exists. I'm just drawing everything in incredibly thin lines. Sort of like this, and the other bun will be sort of in perspective. Oops. I'm doing an awful lot of thinking while drawing right now instead of talking. I should definitely do more practice on my own so that I don't have to worry about being conversational while working. Alright, and the other bun will be here, roundabout. I think I've made the hair... Yes, the hair comes directly down to the eye line, so it's actually a bit lower than I had drawn it before. I think the problem that I'm running into with drawing extremely light lines is that I'm just pressing very lightly instead of getting the full range of pressure. As if I make it any more extreme than it currently is, I feel like I would probably run into issues with pressing too hard. But I'm already starting to get the hang of it a little. It's very intuitive. I imagined getting used to digital art would be a lot more difficult. Okay, so let's start working on the eyes. Let's see. Okay, that looks like it might be a bit too close to center. Around here. This sort of shape. I do, looking at it, I do very much like the eyelashes. I am a big fan of colored eyelashes. I'm trying to remember characters that I'm thinking of in particular that have that sort of aesthetic, but it's something that I really enjoy. So I like the red eyelashes on the lower side here. Right, and this one will be a bit smaller due to perspective. And nose here. Mouth here. This is looking slightly ghoulish. Hopefully it'll look better once I've moved past sketching and work on proper inking. Just do a flat expression for now. Oh, it looks a lot better when I add in eyes. Yes, I'll probably add a bit more volume to the hair. Give you a little bit of a smile. Yeah, that's better. I think the face shape could use a bit of work. Maybe narrow this section here a bit more. Chin should probably be angled slightly differently. Not entirely certain on that part. Hair needs a bit more detail. The interior structure of it isn't entirely consistent. It comes out too far on that side. That might be an issue that I'm having. That looks a bit better. As it stands right now, it looks a bit like a bit more like a helmet than hair, but hopefully that'll be fixed up in due time. All right, and let's see. Let me just clear off some of these excess lines, make things look a bit cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to real quick take a look at, let's see, it's this part here that I'm having the most difficulty with. Like where the head connects to the neck. Oh, I didn't want to go back there. Let's see, so if I just draw with my mouse a little bit, just for some straight lines. Yeah, that's sort of what I'm going for. Alright, so if I just do this. Because right now how to explain it? The face sort of feels like a mask, almost. I think that's because that's what it looks like. Because of this line here. I want it to more gradually move into the neck. Maybe the entire head needs to be shifted back. I think the neck should probably connect around here, maybe. Let's see, does that help? Does moving the neck forwards slightly make a difference? I can just do that now. I think so. But also the angle of the neck should be back a little bit more. I think that helps a bit. The location of the neck. There's just so many slight details that I feel like I need to take into account that are just slightly beyond my knowledge. Yeah, so for instance, if I do this, it looks like the neck is just going into the chin slightly, or the head is transitioning into neck slightly better. And then on this side, it should emerge, the neck should emerge from behind where the head is. I think that's just about what I want to be happening. Just add this back on for symmetry. Okay. This is going a bit better than I thought it would. Fortunately. I wonder. There are things that I would like to talk about, but I'm not entirely sure what at this point. So, let me just move everything slightly to the right here so that it's more in line with where the neck connects to the sketch. Alright, and if I just move back here, I can zoom out a bit more. I think that's pretty decent for a head sketch. I don't know. Any constructive criticism? Something that I could be working on or changing. Let's hide the sketch now. See what this looks like. Yeah. I don't think there's too much wrong. Some of the perspective's a bit odd, and the ear should be around here, starting around there at least. Rotate the head itself. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Oh. Wrong layer. How did I do that again? Yes, that does create a bit of a difference. Especially considering how and where the neck is going to be attached to the body. Alright. Let's see, does that look good if I remove the sketch? Somewhat. I feel like I need to make a few changes. Alright. See you later, GSOC. Enjoy work, I guess, if that's a possible statement. Hopefully you'll get back to see, at the very least, a finished sketch. But as for now, there's not much to watch, I'll be honest. Let's see. I'm not entirely certain who's watching at this point, since my most vocal audience members have left. So I will just continue on with some more generic topics then. I had previously considered just preparing conversation topics, fairly standard ones. Yes, welcome. Let's see, your name's fairly difficult to read because of the color of it, but I believe it's Evanuit. That's what it looks like at the very least. Welcome. Yes, I was considering preparing some generic topics. No, it's fine, it's fine. As long as I have read it once, and I know what it says, I'll probably be able to recognize it if you decide to chime in at any later point during the stream. There we go. Just want to reorder everything. Alright. Now then. I should be making a separate layer for this. So then let's start breaking things up a bit more specifically than I often do, and go body part by body part. Okay then. So, let's see. But unfortunately I didn't actually go through with looking up some generic conversation topics. Something that I did want to talk about is that it's snowing right now. It looks very nice. There hasn't been too much snow here recently. It's been a whole mess of wet weather recently. Not very fun weather. And it's nice having some fresh snow on the ground. It's coating fairly well as well. Yes, it's been a fairly warm year. The fairly amusing thing is that on Christmas and Christmas Eve, on Christmas Eve rather, there was actually quite a lot of snow. But on Christmas Day where I live, there was a torrential downpour, and it removed all of the snow from the ground. Which was disappointing to say the least. Let's see, there was so much rain that there were flood warnings in my area, to the point where I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, we actually lost power for a couple of hours. On Christmas Day, which was fairly annoying. I need a thesaurus so that I stop simply calling things annoying. It is very difficult to draw cubes freehand. I could draw geometric shapes a lot easier with a mouse. I also realize that hand is far too small. It's not connecting to any wrist like this. I think there's an area that I am making an error. I think that arm has to be a bit shorter for it to make sense. Or actually, I think the direction that the skin was like this, the perspective needed to be the same, like that. Elbow's probably a bit too wide as well. Might want to narrow that. Maybe I just need to narrow the arm overall. It's turning out fairly well at the very least. I think there might be a bit... Curve the arm here a bit less, straighter lines. This arm is supposed to be moving away from perspective. But also higher in frame. I don't want to make it too narrow. I also want to show that it's moving upwards and not away. I think it needs to form... Let's see. I think it'll be easier to just erase at this point. So, where the arm or the inner elbow connects, I think it just needs to be a bit more of this style of connection. Yeah, that might be what the error that I was running into. Okay, and this is the left arm, thumb faces inwards. When holding something, be on the underside on the right side of the hand. All right. So the thumb comes out there. I'll just sketch using my own hand as reference for now. All right. Yes, and that is grasping box. I'm just focusing quite a lot right now, so my ability to speak has gone to near zero. I'm just focusing on drawing straight lines. There. Oh, okay. That is a rough approximation of someone holding a rectangular object. Just add a little drinking straw now, so that it's somewhat readable as a juice box. Okay. Oh. I did that entirely on the wrong layer. Say how much of it? Literally all of it. Okay. That's actually a fairly simple fix. I just need to select it all and cut it. So now this is left arm. Unfortunately, I still can't reorganize layers, so that's a bit of a bummer. However, it doesn't particularly matter with the sketch at this point, I don't think. So I can just move on in that case. Let's get the torso in on the next layer. All right. I can deselect everything there. Okay, so, the torso. This is where the line of the chest is connecting to the other arm. Torso goes in like this, past the arm, and this is the line of the waist. No, it's not. The waist is a bit lower than that. Waist is around here. Then we have this, which is the back, connecting into the waist. And the skirt connects at around this point, which I've already drawn in. It folds up and around the legs, so I will get to that point when I get there. The skirt actually comes up to fairly short, actually. It is a long skirt, but it starts at the ribs. So I'm gonna have to work with perspective a little bit then. Okay. Yeah, the torso's fairly simple to sketch out, as far as I can work with. I guess it's a bit difficult to tell things apart without the reference point of clothing as well. I guess I'll just move on to a new layer. Torso is fairly simple to block out. I do also realize that earlier I used talking about the literal weather as a conversation point. The universal "this is a dead conversation" signal. So that's unfortunate. Fair point. Fair point there, Evanuit. I'm assuming that I pronounced that correctly the first time since you didn't correct me on it. It seems to be a if I had to... Oh, Ava unit! Ava unit. I got it just before you explained. Don't worry. Yes, I'm fairly certain that I am not dyslexic. But I moved the N so that it was directly after the Ava part, turning it into Evan Hewitt. Yes, reading comprehension is one of the... Yeah. Reading comprehension is one of my few skills that I feel I'm actually fairly good at. So, messing that up is not the best for me. Let's see. My hand looks a bit like a monster claw, but I feel like I got the perspective fairly well done. Just clear up a couple of loose ends. Maybe not. Maybe I started being prideful a bit too early. Yes, the hand would do this sort of motion. Maybe. Hands are tricky. I think I'm looking at it too much from a top-down perspective, actually. Let's see, so I should probably draw the line of the wrist then, in that case. So if the wrist is here, and this is the hand. Oh, nope, I don't want the pinky finger to turn into a blade. Yeah. Yes, and I don't know how long if this is your first stream of mine that you're watching, but I am most assuredly not practiced at art. Because I noticed that my viewer count is slightly larger than normal. Mildly intimidating, but let's see, I believe there was, yes, the zoom in button is here. Yes, I've not drawn up until fairly recently. Yes. That's certainly when I got the most viewers, so that makes sense. Yes, Aqua's been fairly helpful with telling people about me. I'm very, very grateful for that. See, I feel like the angle might be a bit off here. If I were to continue this arm through the other arm, I would want the elbow to be around here, I think. Oop. Okay. I actually want the angle to be a bit flatter, ideally. Yeah. Oh, good luck with that, Ava. Good luck with that. Yes, I had fairly fortunate circumstances that allowed me to start VTubing fairly quickly. But I understand it's probably a lot more difficult for other people, given their circumstances. But I have enjoyed my time VTubing a fair amount. I definitely haven't had monumental success, fairly obviously, but I feel like I have grown a bit faster than average. I've only been, well, possibly not compared to other VTubers, but at the very least compared to the landscape of what streamers themselves expect. What is it? I remember I heard a statistic about Twitch streamers where if you have one viewer in your chat, you are doing better than 70% of Twitch streamers. Something to that effect. Maybe it was 50%, maybe it was a bit less severe in the ratio, but yeah, even having a single commenting viewer puts you well above many other streamers. So just having one or two people in your stream is already puts you on a fairly good path. So you already stream every unit then? What sort of things do you stream then? I would assume possibly art. I don't know what other reason people would have to be on an art stream, or an amateur is drawing. Except potentially maybe just to listen. I've told that I have a fairly calming voice, so there's that aspect. Retro games, 3 months? Yeah. I don't play too many retro games myself. Though I do understand the draw, I guess. Alright, this right hand is giving me an awful lot of trouble. I'm just going to take a look at the pose reference that I'm using and just look at this and try and integrate it over to what I am doing. Yeah. Because when you look at one and then look at the other, you can see the vast difference in what's actually happening. Okay. So, I'm just going to clear everything out then. Okay, so if I just keep it on this wide screen so that I have visual reference for what I'm doing. Although I do have to draw in a fairly confined corner on my tablet. Alright, so if I were just to attempt to mimic what I see on the other side. We have a thumb here. Finger. I don't particularly mind about getting details accurate. Okay. Yes, the problem that I seem to be having mainly is that the perspective on the hand is odd. So the wrist actually curves back so that you can see that the hand is like this. Okay. So you can actually clearly see the wrist defined. And also that is a terrifying thumb. Yes. Hands are fairly difficult. I particularly find feet and shoes to be incredibly difficult. So sort of like this. Well, the hand looks better than anything that I was drawing when I was just going off of intuition, at the very least. Oh, I need to add in an extra finger here. Because I missed one. And the thumb needs to be curved in like this so that it doesn't look like it's backwards. There we go. That looks a lot better, at the very least, even if it is a copied pose. Okay. Yeah, just getting the perspective details that I didn't completely understand helps a lot. So now it looks plausible at the very least. Okay. But that's probably good for sketch. Okay. I can finally breathe a bit easy. I've finished somewhat with hands. I'll have to improve upon it when I get to inking and proper lines, at the very least. Okay. I'll probably do both legs as a unit, since one of them is fairly well hidden behind the other. And get to work on that. Okay, so I'm going to once again just take a look at the original. So legs are like this. That's the general shape that I want to be mimicking. All right. Okay, I think I have it fairly accurate with the sketch, but there's a couple things to change about it. So I can just draw over the sketch that I have for now, or for a little bit at least. I think, yes, I want the angle here to be a bit different. Clear that out. And just do one good line. No, not like that. I do want it to be out further, like this. Okay, and the thigh and the calf. Like this. And the thigh should follow the calf for slightly longer, like this. Okay. That's potentially a bit better. Alright, most of this is going to be hidden anyways because of the skirt. Or no, just the upper area here. We'll still see the line where the thigh meets calf. Okay. Oh, and I mean, it makes the drawing look more interesting, but it makes more work for me. But since this is the left side on the front, that means the stocking and design of that is going to be predominantly visible. Okay, so I'm going to get started on these shoes. These look sort of like sneakers almost. hiking boots, perhaps? They look very bulky. I'm going to assume that they don't have a heel either, given that the base of it has sneaker tread. I can't think of any high-heeled sneakers that exist. See, it doesn't look like the shoes come too far above the ankle, if at all. Alright. At the very least, I want to represent big sneakers. Alright. Let's see. I hate to rely on audience interaction for my material. I feel like I should probably be a bit more independent, but out of anyone watching, is there anything you are particularly interested in, either about myself, my interests, what I'm doing, that sort of thing? Or even if it's not related to myself in any way. But unfortunately, my well of topics to talk about other than specifically explaining what I'm drawing has run a bit dry. But I will continue describing my work as I draw, just so that I can have something to say for the time being. I wonder, does the knee look correct in this sort of situation? I feel like for my next drawing, or not my next one, but I should probably practice not doing complicated perspectives, just getting detail and slightly more commonplace aspects. Probably something without any form of blocking at this point, since that is a bit too complicated for where my skill level is currently at. Should probably just do more simple perspective shots like the standard Vtuber model is. I definitely do also need one of those writing gloves. My hand is sticking to my tablet a bit too much. It makes it difficult for me to draw straight lines. Okay, I'm just going to read this out because it's going to be a bit too silent if I just read it in my head. Reminding you of a conversation you had with another streamer. Conversation for me on a stream is free-flowing. Don't really have a script, just have ideas of things I'm trying to do during the stream. I just go with the flow. Hello, Mr. Sad Penguin. Welcome to the stream. I notice you See, I thought I noticed you a while ago. You followed with the... Yes. You were here from, I believe, Aqua's advertisement of myself. Welcome. Okay. As it stands, I think I'm just about done with the base sketch. I feel like I can move on to working on more hard details. Oh, you didn't? How did you find my channel then? There's a point in time where many people subscribed to me at once. Oh, what did I say? Did I not say Aqua? Okay. Yeah. Well, then why did... Where's the... There's a breakdown in conversation happening. I thought I said that you did find me through Aqua. Because you were part of the group of people that all subscribed to my Twitch channel en masse. Okay. Oh, you know what it is? I think I might have made the legs too short. Alright. So let me pop up a new layer so that I can measure things. So it's kind of difficult to tell, but I think her waist is around here. So that means that torso... I should be drawing in straight lines. Let's see, what is that? Shift? Yes. Okay, so that means torso is that long, and legs are that long. Yes. Yes, I've made the legs too short, I think, is my current issue. Okay, so if I were just to simply remove this portion here and shift everything up, I wonder would that help? What does it look like on the original image? Yes, I think the torso is too long, not that the legs are too short. Okay, so if I go to the torso and I just cut a hole right there, and now I just want to grab that portion of the torso and move it up a little bit. And then I can have the legs follow suit. That probably means I should narrow this portion of the torso, because it seems like it's getting a bit too wide. I'm just going to do that with the mouse and see how it looks. Interesting. Yes, maybe I have everything on too slight of a curve. Yes, this looks like she has a bit of a turtle back. Let's see. Probably caused by having the same posture, but a different... Even if it's just slightly different orientation of the torso. Okay. What layer is this on that torso isn't erasing it? Is it arm? I think it might be arm. Or it would be left arm in this case. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'm going to have that line go a bit straight. A bit more straight down. Okay. Back to tablet. Yeah. Okay. I think I was making the torso slightly too wide in that case. This looks a lot better, but it's messing with all of the perspective that I had up until now. Because the waist doesn't join in correctly, everything's a bit too small. Art is difficult. Perhaps I can go just ever so slightly wider then in that case. Or I should have just erased it. Undoing is far slower than I thought it would be. Yeah, okay. Alright, so now it's just time to do some editing. Okay, so get rid of this section of torso. And now I just need to move everything up and possibly shrink it. Although I don't... If I shrink it, then I'm left with the same problem that I had before. What portion of the drawing is that I can't erase it? Oh, was it the one that was stuck on this? Yes, it is. That's fine. It's gone now. Okay, so back to legs. Okay, so if I just shift it up like this. This doesn't have quite as negative an impact as I thought it would, which is fortunate. So if I just get rid of all of the contradicting lines and match everything up slightly more accurately here. I'm just drawing this with a mouse because I don't want to bring my hand down to my drawing pad just for these minor edits. Ah, welcome back, Aquapunk. Yes, G-Sock had to leave earlier. I'm messing around with perspective because I had some issues earlier. Alright, back to the drawing pad. Because the legs were too short. I think I need to hide the sketch. It's only causing me more confusion. Yes. The legs were too short, which caused everything to look very strange. Although now things still look fairly strange. Yes, angles need to be different if the legs are positioned here. So I'm starting to run into the same problem that I had before, where I'm working more off of my own imagination rather than off of reference. Let's see. I'm going to need to drag things separately. So these need to be further out now. Let's see. So that this can connect in properly. Okay. See, this causes a bit of an issue with the hand. Not too much, though. I think I can remedy that. I just curve the knee back in. Yes, I do really appreciate you bringing some people along, Aqua, so that they can see see my streams and all that. I feel like at this point, I've strayed too far from the original pose. It's like when you've been building a character only to realize that their stats have been incorrectly distributed. Okay, well, I'm just going to move on to this layer, draw the outline of clothes, and see if that helps in any way. So. Let's see. I'm just trying to think how this skirt would behave. It's got a fairly rigid frame. It comes down to upper thigh area. That's around here. It would go fairly low because of the frame. So if I just have it curve around like this. It connects, where was it? It's around the ribs, so at this point. Ah, welcome back, G-Sock. I didn't expect you back this early. That was fairly fast. Aquapunk also just got back fairly recently as well. Alright, right now I'm just trying to sketch in the clothes, see if that helps me move on from feels like a bit of a dead end that I've hit, where your legs are sort of at a very odd angle. And I'm trying to remedy that. Okay. Let's see, I feel like would conform fairly closely to the body from there for moving down into a skirt like that. And then from the ribs here, it's slightly visible past the arm. Okay, so in doing that, if I erase these torso lines here, And I erase... Where is it? Legs. The line of the leg here. How does that look in the end? That looks relatively correct. I feel like perhaps a bit more interior curve here. I also need to remember to project my voice more. I realized that I was whispering those last few lines almost. Alright. And now... It looks like... I think I need to make the... Yes. Need to make the dress appear longer in the front because... Once again, perspective exists. Yes, that's better. I was thinking it looked a bit too short at that point. Yes, I don't think the skirt would ever reach the knee, even if in a crouching position. Let's see. I just don't know what these lines are a part of. It's not sketch, I've hidden that. Torso? There's the eraser button, there it is. No, not part of torso. Oh, that one is part of torso. This part of arm then? Or maybe leg? It's a leg. Oh, it's mostly leg. There's just a single errant line hidden on some other layer. And it was the clothing. Alright. Okay, well, still being on clothing. I'm just going to get a rough sketch of this part. I should probably stop describing things as rough sketches. Or else that's all I'll ever be working on is rough sketches. Okay. Let's see. That's for the arm. Let's see. I can't quite see on this, but how far down do these detached sleeves go, since you're back G-Sock and I can ask that question? Because they don't cover the fingers. Do they go to the wrist, or are they upper arm all the way? So to the wrist then, I'm assuming? Or is it sort of like this thing, where they come onto the hand a little bit? Okay. I can take a DM. It's just a little bit of reference, so probably not crucial, especially at this point where I'm still in a fairly rough stage. Yeah. I feel like at this point I want to start adding like hard lines to this. Get a proper outline going. Let's see. By this point, I'm less familiar with how to progress in this case. This is the area where my level of knowledge is perhaps somewhat insufficient, because this is the point in time where I would start working on a final draft. However, I'm aware that there are concepts like, what is it, masking, I believe it's called, where you, as you are drawing, you close lines for layers and so that you can color things easier. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Okay, yeah, that is just about the idea that I was going for. It circles the middle finger. Make a layer that's only colors. Okay. Because yeah, I guess this is just a general question for how... Yeah. Make new layer that's only colors. Okay, so if I... Let's see. If I just make a... Let's see. Because most of my knowledge of drawing comes from watching streams of other people draw, or videos of other people drawing. And what I often see is they'll draw something, and then when they color it in, it is contained to where they drew because the outline of it became a layer boundary. I believe that's how it works. If I had to guess as to the method, yeah, I guess for now I will just make a single outline on its own sketch or its own layer, and then I can do details after that. Yes. And it may also not be a function that's available in CS Paint. It might be a Photoshop feature. I'm not sure. Okay, so I'm gonna drop everything to half opacity and then just make a hard line over it. And by the way, I didn't plan on going past 3 o'clock today, so once we hit 3 o'clock, I'm probably going to call it there for today. See, selection tool highlight area, and then paint bucket. Okay. Right. Okay. Time to get started. Alright, this is where lots of undoing starts to happen, because I want things to look consistent and smooth lines. Okay, I may take you up on that at some point. This feels like a difficult point in time for me because I'm going to want to be focusing a lot on what I'm drawing, so talking is taking a bit of a backseat in my mind. Okay, faster strokes then. Oh, yeah, like I said, I apologize. I'm not talking much right now. I'm just focusing. I wonder if I'm making the outlines too harsh at this point. Perhaps I should have used a thinner brush. Oh. I would definitely prefer to be saying something. The main... I don't know. I felt like I was about to say something there, but I forgot what it was. This is taking a lot of focus. Right. I need to be moving faster. Faster brush strokes. It's at a bit of an awkward angle for me here. I don't have much elbow room on my right-hand side. Come now. Pen. Yes. I just feel as if chilling would be easier if I was also talking. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Do I have to hold the button? Okay, I do. See, getting this at a good angle is especially difficult. I wonder, since I'm no longer using the book, is it going to be better for me to have the tablet up on the table when I draw? Probably helps with my posture a little bit. I'm not as hunched over now. I don't know that it actually does. Okay. I'm just going to move my keyboard entirely out of the way so that I can fully extend my arm while I am drawing. Not have it clawed up. Ooh, that feels a lot better. In some cases, not all of them, unfortunately. There we go. That's a much smoother line than I was getting. Yes, I definitely need a glove for this. I feel like I consistently run into the same problem, and then I complain about it every time. Probably not the most novel concepts coming from me. Okay. That looks a bit better. And then calf. Thigh. Oh, enjoy your lunch. Do you know what you're going to be ordering or eating? Oops. Oh. I have my keyboard set on its side right now. Oh, for some reason redo doesn't work. Burgers and fries. Interesting. Yes, I myself don't order food. Very often, if ever. I prefer to cook my own meals. But I don't begrudge anyone that wants to eat food prepared by someone whose job it is to prepare food. Yes. I do also just enjoy cooking itself. It is, of course, generally cheaper to prepare your own food. But I do just genuinely enjoy cooking. Hence the fact that I made bread earlier. Yes, one of the things that I had been considering doing is some form of cooking content. I don't know that I would ever stream cooking. I would rather keep my real life entirely separated from what happens on the streams. The closest I'll ever get is posting IRL pictures. And I do post images of my food very often, but I would like to perhaps go through cooking process every now and then. For some reason, I was trying to be quiet to allow conversation to happen in chat, even though conversation can happen in chat despite my talking. Let's see. I tend not to bake quite as much. I'm not too bad at it. It's just not something that I do very often. I enjoy the free-form nature of cooking a bit more than the structured aspects of baking. I'm not as familiar with the chemistry side of things when it comes to baking. All right. Yes. Oh. I have been working at what was it? Yes, I believe, when did I start streaming? It was late November. I'm trying to remember what day it was specifically. I think it might have been the 27th. So I've been doing this for nearly 2 months at this point. I just keep running into the thought that I should at no point be completely silent. Of course, the music that I run in the background does help, but even then I am concerned to just leave it for too long by itself. But sometimes I just feel like, especially during drawing streams, I feel like I don't have this problem if I'm doing games or anything like that. Because I can always talk about what's happening in-game or speculate about what I think will happen or what I would like to do. But while drawing art, it takes a lot more concentration. So I feel like I don't know that, at the very least not in the near future, that I would ever be able to do any just talking streams. That seems like something that's beyond my scope of abilities for the current time being. I am fairly excited to get a couple more art pieces done as well. It's very satisfying finishing artwork. I do wish I had started earlier, honestly. I feel like I would have liked this a lot more if I had been doing art for longer. Right. I'm just going to leave the hand as is there. I don't want to finalize any of the details of the hand. Welcome, Mitspun. I feel like I typically don't have too many issues comparing myself with others. I remember when I started streaming, that happened with me a lot, especially because I started streaming around the same time that a lot of other VTubers had monumental success. Yes. Yes, I am. So that put a bit of a damper on my spirits back when I started VTubing. But I feel like at this point in time, I'm fairly content with where I'm at. Pressure sensitivity is wonderful. It's so useful. Right now I'm inking, so it's mostly just hard lines. So pressure sensitivity is a bit less relevant at this point. But it's very useful for when I'm sketching, especially. Alright, let's see. How far up the hand should the gaps between the fingers be going? See, that's a bit of perspective that Oh, I should actually draw what's in front first, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, that was actually a very realistic looking knuckle that I did there, entirely on accident. Alright. I think this finger needs to look a bit thinner. Slim this down a bit. Yeah, just being able to mimic drawing is a lot easier. And also one of the things that I'm noticing is that now that I'm no longer using a mouse to draw, my shoulder is hurting far less because of the motions that I had to make with the mouse. Yes, but I said this a little while ago, Mitspun, before you arrived, but I wasn't planning on going past 3 o'clock, so you are unfortunately only catching the tail end of the stream. You mean during this stream? I am moving a bit slower because I'm trying to be careful with drawing lines. That's very nice to hear. I'm glad that you consider yourself lucky when you catch my streams. Right. Okay, that's most of the outlines. Ah, when you first got me using CSP. Yes, I was for certain using a mouse then. Okay. So, I think... Let's see. I think I want to improve the hand in the box right now, rather than trying to get facial features in. Ah, yes. I forgot time zones. Yes, I'm only planning on going for another, what, 15 minutes at this point? A bit over 15 minutes. Yes, I do try to not bring time zones into this as much as possible. I usually only ever give units of time instead of saying what time things are going to be happening, which is why all of my announcements don't mention what time I'm going to be streaming, just in how long I'm going to be streaming. I find it's a lot easier for me to understand when people schedule things that way. And it removes the element of time zones from a lot of it. Okay. Let's see. I think I might actually just want to focus in on this hand as detailed as possible. Oh, I also don't want pixels to be visible. That looks a bit not nice. I think the biggest benefit to pressure sensitivity is well erasing. Because I don't have to constantly go through and change the eraser size. As long as I apply a light enough touch, I can cut through just about anything I need. Alright, so if I have the corner of the box here, that's around where the knuckle or the... Ah! I see the mistake I've made. These aren't fingers. That's hand. There we go. I knew I created an extra joint somehow. I just didn't understand what I was doing wrong. Ah. I wish I knew how to do that on purpose. Do I have to be... No? Okay, there we go. There's probably a way to more quickly switch back to my pen than moving my hand all the way over to the side of the screen, but I've not yet figured it out. Okay, and now if I do this, these read as knuckles. Or, they hopefully do. Let's see, and this shouldn't be as outwards. It should be more like this. There we go. Okay. So let's actually just make, what is this, left arm? Hide that for now. Back to outline. Okay. Nope. Right. Control Y. Oh wow, this is the first time I've ever had to scroll up in chat to catch what I've missed. Alright, there we go. What a momentous occasion. Right, I need to work on angles now. Right, so. I wonder, should I just draw the carton on its own layer? I probably should actually... You know what? This hand shouldn't be at that angle. I'm just going to lasso it and rotate it a little bit. There we go. Should probably be more like that. That makes a bit more sense. Back to pen. All right. So now I do this, and then this. Okay. I want it to be at such an angle, more like this angle, I think. Okay, I'm going to have to erase the thumb or the perspective of where the thumb would be. Do I have this thumb facing the right? Is it on the correct side of the hand? It is. Okay, I'm not making a mistake. It just looks a bit odd. The entire hand looks slightly off. People who are more experienced with art than me, what is wrong with the hand right now? It feels like something's wrong. And I can't put my finger on it. Ah, yep, that's probably it. I also can't make this box-sized correctly. It feels like it's constantly just too small. The fingers are supposed to be going back around over the edge, is the... Yes, yes. Yes, I won't forget to raid. Yes. The fingers are supposed to be going over the edge and wrapping around to the side because this is the first joint on the fingers, so the second joint would be around to the back. Let's see. So the angle of that should probably be curved a bit like this. I don't know that I'm following... Yeah, I'm not following the reference. The angle of the reference is completely different from what I'm doing. Because I don't have the box to mouth right now. It's slightly lower because I don't understand how to make the arm long enough to reach the face while still having it look correct. The arm already looks slightly too long, in all honesty. I think it needs to be a bit longer as well. Yeah, so once again, I have lost the safety blanket of going directly off of reference. And I'm delving into the scary world of because I thought that looks correct. I think perhaps this needs to be longer. Here, let me... Yes, because the fingers are merging into the box. Let's see. Yeah, it's just that I wonder, did I just draw the hand too small? If I just make everything bigger, would that fix it? Just ever so slightly. That looks a bit better, I think. Okay. Let's see. I just need to change where the juice box comes out of the hand, I think, is my main issue. And I'll work on changing the perspective on the other finger, or not the perspective. Changing the lengths. Yeah, I was just drawing a bit too light. I need to press down more for thicker outlines. There we go. That's... yeah. Yes, okay. Yes, because even with a clenched fist, the joints of the fingers are still staggered. Right. And if I just do this, so that it looks like it's reaching around to the outside of the box. I thought you said you weren't good at teaching. I specifically remember you telling me, Aqua, that you weren't good at teaching. That's fair, I guess. Different mediums. Okay. Well then, in that case... ah, there we go. I think I feel like I might also have an issue here with the angle of the palm. Yes, because... okay. I'm actually just going to use the straight line tool. So what is that? Control? No. Shift? There we go. If I were to take this corner and straight line tool, following this curve, I would end up here. And then from there, moving outwards around there. Yes, I feel like the perspective on the palm is a bit messed up, but that's somewhat fine. Oh. All right. I think that's about it for the box. It looks slightly lopsided. If I was more accurate with my lines. No, I'll fix it anyways. Alright. I'll fix the box and then call it for today. My voice is starting to get a bit hoarse and my lips chapped. Alright. So, that's it for me. This is my total progress for this stream. Not too bad. I feel like my art has improved somewhat from using a drawing pad. Let's see. No one that I follow is streaming right now. I'm going to have to look and see who potentially would be in the same sphere that I could send everyone to. Let's see. Does anyone have any streamers that you would suggest I send people to? Angelic Melody 62. Okay. Alright, so I'm just moving things around. I have my stream viewer set up on my laptop that's off to the side. Yes, hopefully I'll be able to finish my drawing of you, and then hopefully at some point I'll be able to get working on Aquapunks. So, let's start raid. Let's see, so I don't necessarily have a raid message, or even any emotes to raid with, but does anyone have any suggestions? Just generic raid, or we could... This is something that I'm fairly unfamiliar with. I only had my very first raid the last time I streamed. Any suggestions for raid messages, or should we just go in silent? Oh. I feel like you viewers won't be too rowdy. Yes, we can just use my going live message if you want. Barleon is here to serve. That's fairly simple. Alright, well, I will start the raid now, so let's go.